We are making some frames for Quinn's room. We're making bobbin frames, which look like that. And so we're going to make 6 of them for the room. We've ordered some artwork that matches the rest of her room that'll go inside the frames. And then we found these unfinished wooden natural frames on Amazon. So I've got 6 of those. And then we've got these half round wood beads, so they're flat on one side. These are 20 millimeter half round. And so they fit there's a little bit of an overhang. So we're gonna push everything over to the edge here. So there's kind of gonna be a scallop as you go around the frame. So I'm gonna need 164 for every, just 64. I'm gonna need 64 of the beads for each frame. So as you can see, this one's not glued on yet, but I was just kind of laying them out so I could get a count and make sure we had enough beads, and I had to order some more. So that's kind of what it'll look like once it's all done. And to attach them, we are using this DAP Weldwood fast curing wood adhesive. So it's an instant adhesive, but it's repositionable for 3 minutes, which is important for this project because we're gonna have to make sure things are lined up and spaced out accurately. And so we have a little bit of wiggle time with that 3 minutes to kind of move the beads around, make sure everything's good to go, and then we'll set it aside so it can cure. And then once it's all done, we are also gonna be painting them fun colors that will match the artwork. All right, so we're gonna get started. So we started, of course, by removing the glass and the backing of the frame. So we're just left with the unfinished wood. And again, we are using this DAP Weldwood instant adhesive for our glue, which is repositionable. So you can slide the beads around as you get them all lined up. You could use hot glue on this, but again, you wouldn't have that ability to slide it around for a few minutes. So I really think this glue is the best bet for this project. And we are starting with the top and the bottom of the frame, and I'm specifically starting with those 3 pieces in the corner because we want to make sure that the farthest corner pieces are lined up with the vertical beads. So I made sure to put one of the vertical beads on so that I made sure that that very corner piece was going to be lined up with it. So everything would be in a straight line. And then you can fill in, of course, in the middle on the top and the bottom, the horizontal pieces of the frame. And I just put a bunch of glue on the actual frame and then pressed the beads into place, and kind of you can see me just sliding them around to make sure they're evenly spaced and all lined up. I pushed ours all out to the edge of the frame so they're lined up with the inner edge of the frame. So it's kind of a scallop on the edge. And then once you get them all spaced out evenly, you can press them into place a little harder, holding for a few seconds on each bead to kind of make sure it sets with the glue. And you only need to apply the glue on just one surface, so just putting it on the frame is fine. You don't need to add it to the back of the beads as you put them on. So that is the simple process of gluing the beads onto the frame. So as you can see, the process was pretty simple. Even my little one was able to help me with this. Just push them in place. I think I needed 64 beads per frame. So I had figured that out and made sure I had enough beads. I actually had to end up buying a little bit more, but there's how it looks when it was all done with the beads. And then I started painting immediately because this glue dries pretty quick. So you can see here, I started with an acrylic paint and a paintbrush. I was hoping to kind of mix some of my own colors. So I had rated my craft paint that I had on hand and started painting with a paintbrush. And it was a horrible idea because this process, I'll show you here in a minute what it looked like after 2 coats, and I still needed more, but this process was so painstakingly long. I think I painted for about an hour and finally gave up, thinking like it was just way too hard to get into all the little nooks and crannies and get the coverage that I wanted. So you'll see we're going to switch over to here spray paint in a little bit, which is a much better way. I wish I would have done that first, but I learned the lesson, so you don't have to. So now you can just start with spray paint when you do this project. So we were painting this with some gloss acrylic paint that we had on hand, and we are going to mix the colors to make the right colors that we needed for our artwork based on just the ones I had on hand. But it's taking entirely way too long. I did 2 coats on this, and there's still, it looks like it needs maybe a 3rd or 4th coat. And getting in all the little nooks and crannies, it's just too time consuming. So we're going to spray paint. We're going to switch gears, go to the store, see if we can find the right color spray paints, and spray paint the rest of these. We have got the frames hung up in the room, so you can see we've got the new bedding, the new rug. She's got a little mushroom tin over there she loves. And then we put vinyl stickers up on the wall. And now we've got the frames added. So these turned out so cute, and they were so easy to make. They look great with the art that we found on Amazon. That was just a set of 6 prints. And it's so much better than just plain frames, right? They're cheerful, they're colorful, and they were, of course, really easy to make, like I've said. They may look a little high right now on the wall, but the headboard is not finished yet. We're getting ready to start that next. So this blank space right here is going to have a cloud-shaped headboard, which we'll be building soon. So that'll be one of the finishing touches in here. We've got to figure out what to do on this wall. And then we've got a few other things planned here, but it's looking good.